What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Now, today we've got something that has been requested 6,100, 2,000 million, gajillion, billion times. Something that I've wanted to do for so long. I've been kind of just doing it down in my notes on my phone, just writing down every day or every second day when it popped up into my mind, and then I put it in. You know, I didn't want to just do my best 11, you know, in like 10 minutes and just go yep. Like I had a rough idea of what it would be, but I also had to make some changes, and I thought you can't make those changes in like 10 minutes. You have to think about them. I thought I'd also mention that this best 11 is not based off stats. It's not based off, you know, who's been the best of who's been the best player of all time. This is purely my opinion and who I have enjoyed watching. It's purely off enjoyment, who I love watching, who I think is a great person on the field, a great person off the field, just a great personality, and on top of that, he's a very good cricketer and a good bloke. So we are going to start down the bottom with the 13th and 12th man. Now, we've got the 13th man, as you guys can see, is Moses Enriques, my favourite cricket player, one of my favourites of... Alrighty, you would have just seen a little edit, a little cut in the video, because I was looking at the list while I was talking, and then I realised, hold on a fucking second, I'm missing someone so important. So I will tell you, when I get to it, I will tell you who I just removed and who I just had to put in, because they have to be in there. I don't even know how I forgot them. But hey, here we go, guys. Here we go. So I've said Moses Enriques, one of my favourite cricket players of all time. Just one of the best blokes on and off the field. As a Sydney Sixer fan, you know, he's led us to, what, 2 titles. He's been a part of the franchise forever. Just an absolute legend in my eyes. Deserves so many more opportunities at international level, at every sort of format. Even at test level, I think he deserves another shot back in the test arena. So, hey, that is my 13th man. My 12th man, DJ... Bravo! DJ motherfucking Bravo. One of the all-time great West Indian players, in my opinion. You know, he's not only been a gun in Big Bash, IPL, but you look, test level, he's been very good, very underrated in my eyes at the test level when he was in his prime. ODI and T20 internationals was an absolute gun. Averaged, you know, upwards of 30 in every single format. So, absolute gun, could do it with ball and bat. He is my 12th man. Unfortunately, he has not made the starting 11, but I think he's just, you know, he's a good fucking man to have around the change rooms, to get the morale up, and in case there's an injury, he can slot right into this side. He can come in as a specialist bowler, specialist batsman, or both. Doesn't fucking bother me either way. Here we go, number 11, Dale motherfucking Steyn. Now, this man, I was debating whether to have him in there. It was between him and kind of Rabada. Now, Rabada's quite young. He's kind of dropped off a little bit in my eyes over the last kind of few years. If you asked me to make this about 3 years ago, Rabada would have been in there. You know, he just started playing, but he was just so impressive. But Dale Steyn has done it for so long. You know, one of the best bowlers of this decade. When he got going on those pitches in South Africa, he would swing that fucking ball a mile. Playing against England on those England greeny, grassy motherfucking pitches, he would always take out that top order. He would destroy batting orders. One of the all-time greats in my eyes in the bowling and off the field. You know, he did a bit of commentary here in the Big Bash for the Big Bash League, and I thoroughly enjoyed that from him. So hopefully he comes back into cricket soon, you know, for some commentary or media work or just fucking coaching, and we get to see him a bit more, because he is one of the best bowlers of this decade. Now, number 10. This one was hard. This one was very hard, because it was between Shane Warne, Nathan Lyon, and I even thought about Ravi Ashwin, but not really. He was kind of there, but I kind of thought, nah, there's other options that I prefer. Nathan Lyon or Shane Warne. Now, Shane Warne was there. I had Shane Warne there, and then I thought, you know what? Gaz, he is in my heart. Gary is the GOAT, the goatee Gary. And look, Warney, I love Warney. You know, he was a brilliant cricket player, but he did have a few things off field that were a bit interesting. But just for Nathan Lyon, he's just so chill. Like even though he says that he gets super nervous before he goes out to play, like he just looks so chill off the field. He looks like someone you'd want to fucking kick back with and have a beer, have a few, have maybe a 6, have maybe 10, and then hit the streets and see where it takes us. Maybe to a strip club, who knows? But it was between him and Warney. I went with Gaz. It still could go either way. Number 9, we've got Glenn McGrath. Glenn McGrath now early into my life. I've only been on this earth for 19 years, so yeah, it's kind of where do you add up? But he to the back end of his career, he was still an impressive and a very, very good bowler. One of the best that I've ever seen in my life, and I think it kind of speaks for himself. Glenn McGrath could tear up any batting order he wanted, especially he would do it so many times against England in the Ashes. All the time, Glenn McGrath would just fucking destroy England. And that's what makes me love him so much. So he's in there. And also at the end of the list, we will talk about the people who were unlucky and could have gone into those positions. Number 8. This is who I just added before. I actually had Mitchell Starc in at number 8, but I've decided, look, I want Mitchell Johnson instead. And Mitchell Johnson is one of my favourites, players, people of all time. He is my favourite bowler of all time. Top 5 player of all time for me. Like, not on stats or anything, but for me, I love, like, that Ashes series. When was it? 2014/15 or 13/14? Go and watch that. If you guys haven't seen that, after this video, go and watch the Mitchell Johnson, I think it was 2013/14 Ashes series here on home soil. He took like 32 wickets or something. And I have never seen a batting order be so scared of one bowler. He won the player of that whole series. He was incredible. And that's, I love MJ. And then even he started playing Big Bash. He played for the Scorchers. And fuck, he was still bowling heat. Number 7, Adam Gilchrist, Gilly. Again, kind of speaks for itself, doesn't it? Just a big hitter. Was the saviour so many times for the Australian outfit. Anytime Australia was in trouble, he could dig us out of a hole. He could be up the order. He could be in the middle order. It doesn't matter where you played him. He was always an absolute gun. Was one of the greatest wicket keepers of all time. So he does get the wicket keeping job in the side. Obviously, the next guy who I'm going to talk about, A.B. de Villiers, can in fact wicket keep. I had A.B. in there to wicket keep, but I thought, you know what, I want Gilly in there as well. So A.B.D. or Gilly, either one can get the gloves, but I'd probably give them to Gilly just purely off him being a top 2 wicketkeeper of all time. So you give them to him. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be upset that I don't have MS Dhoni in there at the wicket-keeping position, but you guys have to understand that I am Australian. Okay, Adam Gilchrist is one of my absolute childhood heroes. And A.B. de Villiers, now that could have been MS Dhoni. I'm not going to lie, that easily could have been MS Dhoni, but I've already got... Oh, actually, I don't want to spoil it because I'm going to blur, and then it's going to, go up. So, but... yeah, look, Dhoni could have been in there for de Villiers, but no, I was only going to have him in for ABD, but ABD is just someone that I've more idolised as a kid. Of course, I love Dhoni. He was one of my favourites of all time, but AB has always been an idol of mine. He's one of the most destructive batsmen, so I'm sorry that I don't have Dhoni in here, but again, he could have easily been in there, and I do love Dhoni. I'm a huge Dhoni fan and his story, but I've watched a lot when I was younger, growing up, and I used to watch a lot more like Australia versus South Africa series because I used to be on TV here, like on the free-to-air TV sort of stuff all the time. And yeah, I used to grow up, watching AB highlights. They were kind of my thing. He was like one of my favourite international players ever growing up. So that's why he is in here. Number 5, Virat Kohli, the King Kohli. Now, I know he's at number 5, but you'll understand why I couldn't fit him in the top 4. It is an incredible top 4 for him to be able to try and get into. He has batted, he's played like 30 matches or something at number 5, so he's in there. He still averages like over 40 when he bats at number 5. So he gets it. There's not much else to say except Kohli is probably the greatest cricketer of all time, if not a top 3 cricketer to ever live on the planet Earth. So he's in this side, obviously. I love watching him play on and off the field. He's an incredible person. Obviously, against Australia, he can get on my nerves sometimes. That's because of how good he is and how he goes about his business, which can piss me off. But he's still... I love him, and it wouldn't be a best 11 if you didn't have Virat Kohli in there. So he is in there, absolutely. I love him to death. I love Virat. I'm a King Kohli supporter. Number 4, another Indian, my favourite Indian cricketer of all time though. Virat's number 2. Number 3, number 2 favourite Indian cricket player of all time, Virat. Number 1, Sachin Tendulkar, my favourite Indian cricket player, a top 3 favourite cricket player of all time for me, Sachin Tendulkar. Now let me explain to you guys why I love Sachin. Growing up, again, now this is a lot of nostalgia, but when I was younger, and every time I would, watch Australia versus India, or if I'd watch India versus England, or I'd watch highlights on my little fucking iPod back in the day, I would always watch Sachin Tendulkar. Any cricket game I used to have when I was younger, I would play as Sachin Tendulkar. I would bat with Sachin Tendulkar. He's one of my heroes. Off the field, he's just such a beautiful personality. I mean, he's pretty cute as well. But no, I'm joking, guys. Chill. But no, look, absolute legend. And the way he went about his business on the field, he was the Superman in my eyes. As good as some of these players on the list before him that we spoke about, like Virat, ABD, Gilly, they could still go out. Like, I still feel like on their day, they could, they're always like, you'd be like, oh, that's unlucky, but they still went out. Even if Sachin got one of the greatest balls in history, he just never went out. Now, obviously he did, but in the prime of Sachin's career, every time I would watch him, I would think, this man will never go out. He's going to make 300 every innings. Now, obviously he didn't, but you could always bank on him making 80 plus every single innings. And that's what I think a cricket team's all about. So I've got him here at number 4. Obviously, could be at number 3 or 4. Like, he batted a lot of his career at number 4. So we're going to keep him at number 4. Number 3, again, one of my other childhood heroes, Ricky Ponting. Now, he is on the same level for Sachin as me. They're like equal first. Like, Ricky Ponting, Sachin Tendulkar, and I want to say Chris Gayle, probably my 3 favourite cricketers of all time. Also add in, you also got to add in Mitchell Johnson to that. Now, that's purely off how good they were. But if I'm talking about my favourite, like, just overall person and cricketer, it would be on Reeks, obviously. But yeah, Ricky Ponting, and he is the exact same. He played the exact same way as Sachin. They were so similar, but so different people. Like, as people, they were completely different. One was a bogan Tasmanian from Australia. The other one was a royalty in India who just had an incredible story and made his way into the big time by working hard and just being this just real big figure was Sachin. And Ricky, for a guy who's like, 5'6", just looks like a little fucking noodle. He had his forearms. He had the strength of fucking Thor. And he was the wall. You never thought he was ever going to go out. And that's what impressed me so much when I was younger. He's also an incredible commentator, an incredible person. He coaches in the IPL. He coaches, he does stuff all around the world. He helps everyone out. He's such a generous person. One of the all-time great people in this country, and one of the all-time great cricketers as well. So obviously Ricky comes in at number 3. Probably the greatest number 3 of all time, in my opinion, just off of what I've watched. But, whew, shit. Let me get a drink, people. Fuck, I've been talking for a long time. Take a drink break, get ready. The opening pair could divide some people. And we're going to list them off. Actually, no, we're going to show number 2. Number 2 in the opening partnership is the West Indian legend, the fucking coolest man on earth, Chris Gayle. Now, CG333. Chris Gayle, again, one of my top 3 favourite cricketers of all time. Could do it at any format, could do anything you wanted. Incredible. The bloke was incredible. He was a clutch player. He still is a clutch player for Punjab. Yeah, I mean, what else can you say about Chris Gayle, that hasn't been said? He's got the fucking coolest dreads. He can rock a good pair of sunnies. He could bowl some steamers. When he'd bowl them in, he just throws them in, angles it in. Fuck, it's funny to watch him bowl. But batsman, the most destructive batsman I've ever watched in my whole life of watching cricket, and I don't think that'll ever change. Incredible bloke. incredible doesn't even speak for what Chris Gayle can do with the bat in hand in his prime. Yeah, I mean, could do it in any format. Look, he didn't play enough Test cricket, I don't think, in his career. I don't think, you know, he was really a big Test man. You know, Chris Gayle was never the man who wanted to stand out in the field for 5 days straight, was he? Like, he was never going to want to be at the same arena for 5 days straight, playing the same game. I think he's more of a spectacle that you can watch, like, for a good amount of time. But he's not going to go out there. Chris Gayle is not the sort of guy who just goes, no run, no run, no run. And that's why I love him. And you've got to have one of those people in your 11. Chris Gayle, yeah, did it in the Big Bash. He made like 50 off 12. Was I at that match? No, I wasn't, but I was at the match. He hit like 50 off like 14 against the Sydney Sixers, and I was at that match, the Melbourne Renegades versus the Sydney Sixers. He hit like 53 off 14 deliveries. It was nuts, and I remember just being a Sixers fan thinking, can we just get this fucking guy out? And then he went and made like 65 off like 20 and then went out. But incredible person. If there's anyone in the cricket world I'd love to sit down and polish off a slab of beers with, would be the man, Chris Gayle. If I'm going to, you know, smoke a blunt, or if I'm going to smoke a cigar or something, it's going to be with Chris Gayle. And we're in the Caribbean, by the beach, sipping on some fucking whatever he's got, doing whatever, talking about. Now, if I met Chris Gayle, I would not talk about cricket, unless that's what I've been asked to do by a company or something. But, like, I would never, if I just saw Chris Gayle, I would not talk to him about cricket. I'd be like, so, the females, been to any strip clubs lately, Chris? He'd say, look, man, yeah? That was not a good accent. Remember, guys, do not take offense to any accents. But number one, this is the one that'll divide some hairs, David Warner. Now, we know what's happened with the situation with the sandpaper. Look, whatever, put that aside. Don't care about that at the moment. One of the genuine great blokes off the field, and I know a lot of people are going to say, no, he's a sook, he's a dickhead and all this. He's not. He really isn't. He's just he's super passionate about what he does. When he loves something, he loves it clearly. Like his family, he loves them. Like, he always, you know, talks about them. About cricket, he loves, obviously. It's just, in Australia growing up, and I feel like, you know, when I was like 8, 9, 10, and David Warner was just starting to make his way into the Test arena, he came in and made an impact straight away. He never had and this is what the great thing about David Warner, at Test level, he never had a partner that stayed in there with him. I could name 5 partners. He had Chris Rogers, Ed Cowan, he's had Marcus Harris, he's had Cam Bancroft, who else has he had? Did Phil Hughes open with him one time? I feel like Philip Hughes might have actually opened once or twice in ODIs maybe, or he was like a number 3. But to say Warner's had never a stable partner is the truth. And he's just always carried our top order for a long time. Ever since he made his debut, that top order was dependent on David Warner making 100 plus against India, England, anyone he could do it with. And he still is one of the best openers in the world, if not the best. So, hey, woo! That is going to cap it off, guys. That is my favourite 11 of all time. Now, remember, this is just my opinion. This isn't based off who I think the best 11 is. If I wanted to pick the best 11, I would have. Maybe I'll do that in the future video. But hey, this is my favourite 11. Comment down yours below. I'm very curious to what you guys have as yours. Make sure you have in the 12th and 13th man. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new. We're on the way to 1,000 subscribers. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.